All right, welcome back. The Commission for Gender Equality is investigating the re-election of Canaanland Mayor Jeffrey Downson. Downson was convicted of rape in 2004. The Commission says even though he's appealed and his sentence was reduced, his conviction was not challenged. It says the re-election of the convicted child rapist is a slap in the face. To discuss this and give us more details, I'm joined by researcher at the Commission, Dennis Matotoka. Thank you very much, Dennis Matotoka, for your time. Now, obviously, this is something that's appalling to South Africans, to see somebody who was convicted of raping a 15-year-old come back into government. How far is your investigation thus far?
Thank you for having me, and good morning to the viewers. Well, we just initiated investigation following publication of reports that suggest that the Canaanland mayor has been reappointed, notwithstanding the sexual offense that he was convicted of. Now, in terms of our investigation, we have to do a thorough look into the allegations that have been published. The first step will be for us to engage the court to assess what grounds were considered by the court to deviate from the prescribed minimum sentence. Because if a person is found guilty of sexual offense, particularly of a statutory rape, we are anticipating that a 15-year sentence ought to be imposed. So we have to go to the record of the court to assess what grounds did the court, especially the appeal court, what grounds were considered to deviate from the prescribed minimum sentence. What will then follow in terms of our investigation, we understand and appreciate that the appointment or the re-election of a mayor follows the appointment through the appropriate structures and the vetting by the IEC. But our concern as the Commission, this emanates from the investigative hearings that we've been conducting in the public and the private sector, where we found that where sexual harassment or sexual offenses taking place in the workplace, it is often because the employer, including the state, by the way, fails to conduct a proper vetting process of people who occupy key positions in government. But most importantly, they fail to do what we call a risk assessment on the person who is being appointed following a conviction of sexual offense. So it is a concern to us. So we need to now do a thorough investigation to assess whether a vetting process, taking into consideration the prevalence of GBV, whether a risk assessment was conducted when the mayor was re-elected. And from that point, we will be able to make specific recommendations based on our findings.
And of course, this worries quite a lot of people. I can imagine people thinking about the fact that the mayor now has access to young girls, now that he's out, and that he has a powerful position in terms of being a politician and a mayor of Canaanland.
Well, that is very interesting, and one of our bone of contentions is the Commission, because the state has put in place the National Strategic Plan to deal with gender-based violence. We have recently been engaging with Parliament on various GBV bills, the Sexual Offences and Related Amendment Act bill, the Domestic Violence Amendment bill, all in the quest to strengthen the gaps that we've identified in fighting gender-based violence. In terms of that, we also know that there is a council to be appointed to spearhead some of the aspirations in the National Strategic Plan to curb gender-based violence. Now, with all these processes taking place, the very state seem not to take cognizance that the appointment of persons with a history of sexual offenses may just be an undermining process of the very steps that they have taken to strengthen measures against gender-based violence. So it's a concern. And when one looks at one of the bills, it identifies what we call vulnerable persons. A vulnerable person includes females under the age of 25. And it's therefore questionable or worrisome that what is the local government state or thought when it places a person of a sexual offense conviction in such a key position to deal with vulnerable persons as defined in the new bill. So it definitely says there's something that needs to be addressed here. And we hope that through our thorough engagement with all the stakeholders, including the municipal council, we will be able to come to a conclusion that addresses
I just want to
the appointment of persons in key positions in the public sector.
I just want to come in because we're running out of time. Just very quickly, and Dennis Matotoka, what happens if the Western Cape government and the Canaland mayor comes back to you and says, look, he served his time, he did go through the proper channels, he was found guilty, he served his time, why can we not give him another chance?
Well, we firstly have to ascertain if indeed he has served his time. We certainly need to ascertain whether his name was added in the National Offences Register of Sexual Offences.
Absolutely.
We also need to ascertain whether he has been rehabilitated. We also have to assess whether there is a risk assessment done to say that he's eligible, he's a fit and proper person to occupy that position in view of the current of GBV pandemic in South Africa. So there has to be more that needs to be convinced before we can say, indeed, this person is eligible to take such position.
Right.
At this point, we don't have anything on the table to say anything.
All right, that's absolutely it. Thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Dennis Matotoka, he is a researcher at the Commission for Gender Equality. All right, still to come on Newslink, former